Students returning to Columbia University following spring break will now have to abide by some new campus policies. University leaders caving to President Trump's demands in exchange for the release of $400 million of federal funding. President Trump cracking down and demanding an overhaul to disciplinary policies. The prestigious school was a focal point last year as student protests broke out on campus amid the war in Israel. Administrators were accused of tolerating anti-Semitism. Among the concessions, the university hired more campus police officers who do or will have the power to arrest students. Protests are banned inside and directly outside of academic buildings, and students participating in demonstrations are not allowed to wear face coverings. NewsNation's Caitlin Becker has a closer look at all these policy changes and is live there on the campus of Columbia. So, Caitlin, what are we expecting on campus today?
Well, Nichole, if the goal here was to quell this upheaval that we've been seeing for the last year and change to stop those protests, it might be having the opposite effects. You listed some of the policy changes just then, and one of them is a mask change. Masks will be banned on campus, with, of course, exceptions for religious or health reasons. However, that very ban is prompting a protest. It's scheduled for today, and it's planned by and organized by the Columbia Palestine Solidarity Coalition. Demonstrators are being asked today to wear masks on campus to protest this ban and what they call, quote, fascist trustees, saying that they refuse to be intimidated. Now, this laundry list of policy changes was outlined in a 4-page compliance letter that was released by the university on Friday. And as you mentioned, they included that increased campus security. More security officers on campus are being trained right now. They will have the power to arrest and detain on campus. Things like ID checks will be mandatory as well today. It's ID only on campus. No one can get on campus unless you have a student or faculty ID. As you said, protests effectively banned on campus, nothing in front of or inside of those campus buildings, and there will be harsher discipline for any violators of those rules. In addition to that, we're going to see an expansion of the Institute for Israel and Jewish Studies, and the university has agreed to adopt an official definition of anti-Semitism, and they said they'll be using the working definition from that anti-Semitism task force by the federal government. One of the biggest things, Nichole, is an overhaul and oversight of the Middle Eastern Studies program. A term you're going to be hearing is called academic receivership. It's a bit of an esoteric term, but what it means here and why it is getting so much pushback is there's going to be oversight from an outside entity. So someone who is not involved in the academia there, whether they're not involved in the school itself or in that program. And it really just means that these outside forces are going to be really influencing how students are going to be admitted and taught here at Columbia. Nichole.
All right, so Caitlin, is the goal here to make sure that $400 million in federal funds is not withheld?
Well, Nichole, it wasn't explicitly said by the university that that is the goal, but it's really impossible to divorce that massive amount of funds that's being stripped from the coffers here at Columbia with all of these changes, these demands that were outlined by feds, by the Trump administration for what they wanted to see at Columbia were basically met word for word and point by point. So you kind of can't see one without seeing the other. However, they didn't explicitly say so. In addition to that, U.S. Education Secretary Linda McMahon has said that the university adopting these new policies is indicating that they're positioning it favorably to regain that federal funding that they're going to be losing. However, it doesn't mean that they will definitely get it back. It just says that they're now positioning themselves to be able to have that conversation. So it remains to be seen if more demands are going to be made and more changes are going to have to be made at Columbia in order to actually get that $400 million back, Nichole.
All right. Caitlin Becker live there in New York. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.